The next character I'm going to talk about will be Paper Mario, for a new Mario rep. Now, Paper Mario, the series has been around since the N64. It has had a game on every main console since then, and now it's getting a new one on 3DS. He would mainly get in the game because of Super Paper Mario on the Wii, and his moveset potential could be quite different compared to like ordinary Mario. The reason why I don't think he would have the highest chances, I'm going to say his possibility is average, is because I don't think they want, when they want to get another Mario character, I don't think they're going to want to like, oh, we want to put a second version of Mario. For Link, that kind of works because they're technically two different characters and various reasons and whatnot like that. Paper Mario is just Mario as paper. You know, I don't see his chances as being really big, but I think he has the possibility because the series as an RPG, like the Mario, a part of the Mario RPG series is quite popular, and he could quite have a different moveset, but I don't see it as he's going to guarantee being, you know, that kind of thing. He's not going to definitely have a high chance of getting in, because I don't think they want to put in a second version of Mario. Like, oh, we want to put a Mario character. Let's not put in Paper Mario because he's kind of like Mario. Let's kind of put like a character that's different and new. Even though he would be a different, you know, moveset wise, I don't think he would necessarily be like a different character representation that they would really want. Not saying his chances are little. His chances are average, but I don't think they're very, very good. And that's just what I'm saying with that. The next character I'm going to want to talk about would be the Battalion Wars Soldier, which is basically it's a spin-off series of the Advance Wars series, Famicom War series kind of thing. And there was Battalion Wars 2 on the Wii. He basically is it's the console equivalent of the Advance Wars series, and basically putting in a Battalion War Soldier, or even typically an Advance Wars Soldier, would technically represent the series. Maybe it might represent the series a little bit more because it would represent the generic soldier that you could have moving on the battlefield, rather than one of the COs, one of the higher up like general characters, because they're the ones actually on the battlefield fighting and killing off the enemies and trying to help you win the war. The possibility, though, I don't think they would want to put just a random soldier in there because he's kind of mean. The possibility I would say is unlikely, not very unlikely, but unlikely, because I think they want to put a character with more of a name to him. Like I said, Andy. I think the possibility of Andy would be a little bit better because he actually has a name behind him. But he has a chance because it kind of represents the series technically a little bit more. My next choice is actually two choices. It's going to be a Belmont representation. I'd see either Simon, since he's the original, or Trevor, since he actually plays a big part in the Castlevania series as well. And he's also going to be one of the main characters in the new game. So is Simon. You know, the new Mirrors of Fate, Lords of Shadow, Mirrors of Fate on the 3DS. And basically, Castlevania has a history with Nintendo, basically dating all the way back to the NES. There was Castlevania Judgment, which both of these characters were in, which both of them were in on the Wii. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, Mirrors of Fate is coming out, and they're both in that game, and it's like going to be the newer, more recent on the recent console game. And basically, there was a ton of different DS Castlevanias. They may have not necessarily been in any of them, but the series was represented very well this generation on the DS. Even if they weren't there, it's a series rep. I'd say the possibility of us getting someone from Castlevania, namely a Belmont, would be basically good. Not very good, but good. The next character I'm going to talk about will be the Black Knight from Fire Emblem. He was in Radiant Dawn, and he played a pretty big role in that game. He actually played a pretty big role in 2 Fire Emblem games. He continued on from Path of Radiance on the GameCube all the way up to the Wii one, Radiant Dawn. He's recent enough because of Radiant Dawn. He'd be a villain rep finally for the series. He'd be another sword user, so it's kind of like what the series is now based off of, I assume, like now in the Smash Bros, because that's kind of like what the characters they always seem to choose. And he'd be a super heavy sword user, which would kind of make him different in a sense. He'd be like a slow character and powerful, unlike, you know, very slow character, slower than Ike even, you know, and very powerful kind of a thing. So that's what. But the thing is, the possibility of him is average, because even though he played a big role in those games, there are other Fire Emblem characters that kind of make a little bit better chance of him. Not saying he's like has a horrible chance, but his chances are just, I'd say, average, because I think there's other characters that could make more sense of him. But he does have a chance, though, because of being a villain rep and important to two of the recent console Fire Emblem, specifically Radiant Dawn, because that was recent on the Wii. You know, there you go. When it comes to Black Mage, I think it's basically a popular class type in Final Fantasy. It has history with the series because almost every single Final Fantasy game has dating all the way back to the NES, has a Black Mage type character in it. And it'd be a new class, you know, a new fighting type, because it would, like, a lot of the characters are physical. This would be more of like a distance fighter because of their mage style. The thing is, I think it's unlikely because it is a class. I think if they were going to possibly, if Square was to get a third-party rep and they were going to get a character from, you know, one of their franchises, they're going to, like I said about the Battalion War Soldiers, they're going to want to pick a character that has a name behind them and not just the Black Mage. Even though it's a popular class, I'd say unlikely. Not very unlikely, but unlikely, because even though it's popular and it has a smidgen of a chance, it's just a class type, unless they pick a specific type like Vivi. But Vivi is a PlayStation character, and they're not going to pick a PlayStation character. They'd pick someone more than likely. If they wanted to pick a specific mage, it'd be from Final Fantasy 1 through 6, because those were on Nintendo systems. And pick up if they want to pick a character with a name, but more than likely they wouldn't probably go with, you know, the Black Mage on its own. Bomberman will be the next choice I got, and I think he has history with Nintendo. The Bomberman series has history with Nintendo. There was Bomberman Blast on the WiiWare. There was Bomberman Land just as a physical Wii game, and there was a ton of BC games this generation dating back to like the older, you know, games. Like, I think Bomberman, like 93, and I think 94 was a Japanese import, you know, and I think he was on the DS. I'm not fully sure, and you know, and that's it. He has quite a bit of history, so I think he stands a chance. However, I'll say the possibility is average because he's kind of like not as big now as I think he used to be, and also his company that made him kind of died out, so the chances of getting him might be a little bit less than other ones, but he does stand a chance, which is the reason why I say average. Bowser Jr. for another Mario rep, I would say he's basically would make sense because he was all over the Galaxy series in both of them. He was in both New Super Mario Brothers games, and now recently on the 3DS one, number 2. He would be a villain rep, another villain rep for the Mario series, and he would be different than his dad. A moveset you could pick from Galaxy and from New Super Mario Brothers could make him different than his dad. And on top of that, he did make an impact this generation. Like how I said in my Raw one, how Wario made an impact with the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube. Basically, Bowser Jr. made an impact this generation on the Wii and DS. And I think his chances of being the next Mario rep would pretty much, the possibility would be very good because he's recent, he's been all over the place, he has a new potential moveset, and he made an impact this generation. You know, that's it. The next one I'm going to talk about will be Captain Rainbow. Now, it's from the Captain Rainbow game on the Wii, which is only Japan. It was never localized anywhere else. He'd be the perfect WTF character. Like, his moveset could be very, very random and very, very different for the Smash Bros. Series. Like I said, he could like have crazy moveset potential. However, his chances, I would say, are very, very unlikely, his possibility, because his game was only in Japan. Now, could he be a good assist trophy? That could also have a normal trophy as well? Sure. He could be an assist trophy and help do some random things on the battlefield, but I don't think he has enough warranty in the game unless they wanted to put him in as a Japan exclusive character. Like, he'd be a character that was in Japan only, but he's going to be in the game anyways because they want to representation. Because that's basically what's been happening. They picked Marth and Roy, and they picked Lucas. Nintendo always seems to pick, when they pick region-exclusive characters, they tend to pick Japan, and he would fit technically in that, but his game also wasn't, I'd say, very popular, so his chances are very unlikely, but I'd say he's perfect for assist trophy status, I would say. The next one we're going to talk about will be Micaiah from Fire Emblem. Now, she was in Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. She's DLC now on Awakening on the 3DS. She's important to her game. She's one of the main characters of Radiant Dawn. Especially when you start the game off, she's the quest you first play as. It'd be a new moveset because she's a light book mage. She uses a book and does light spells, so she'd be different than anything from Fire Emblem because so far it's only been sword users. So she'd offer something very, very different and original for her series. And she's a female rep, on top of the fact that she is quite popular. People actually do kind of like the character. They quite like the character. And, you know, that, and she's also recent. I'd say her possibility to be in the game is actually good. I wouldn't say very good, but good. On the verge of being very good, but good. Midna from Twilight Princess. She was in Twilight Princess on the Wii, which even though it was pulled into Brawl because it was also a GameCube / early Wii game, it could still be included as a reasoning for a character because of the fact it's still a Wii game. She'd be a female rep to the series, and she did kind of play a big role to Twilight Princess. She was important in the game and was basically your assistant all the way through. I would say her possibility is unlikely because I think the only way you would technically get her into the game would be to give her Wolf Link, and that would mean having, unless Toon Link was kicked out, 3 Links in the game, and even though she'd be the main character in that moveset, it'd be a little bit much in terms of Links. And having her by herself, I mean, it would make a little bit of sense, but it wouldn't make as much sense as with Wolf Link. So I'd say her possibility is unlikely. The Mii character, I think it'd be a good way to just represent the Wii in general. The system in general, like how big the Wii was, how popular the Wii was, just to represent a character from the Wii in general, just the Wii system. Not even a game, it's just a system representation. And even technically it represents a DS, because you can play as Mii's on there, and also 3DS, because you can make 3DS, you can make Mii's on 3DS, and you're also going to be able to make Mii's on the Wii U, so they're continuing from one generation to the other. They'd be customizable, it'd be allowing you to use your own Mii's. It's one of the more popular inclusions on the Wii, and the moveset, like, it can go anywhere from, like, Wii Play to Wii Music, to Wii Sports, to Wii Party, and to any games that you can technically use Mii's in. More specifically the Wii series, I say, though. I'd say the possibility of getting the Mii is good, on the verge of being very good. Mike Jones would be another retro character I think might possibly be in the game. He'd be a retro character. He'd represent Star Tropics 1 and 2 on the NES. He'd have a potential unique moveset because he has a bat and yo-yo, and even though those technically are in Ness's moveset, his moveset kinda revolves around it. And he'd also be, this character, Mike Jones, would technically be a representation that is region exclusive, but this time not for Japan. He'd be like the America-Europe exclusive character, because those games never came out to Japan. At least I don't think so. They might be on Virtual Console now, but when it came to NES, I don't think they were there. He'd be a region-exclusive character for another country outside of Japan. I'd say the possibility of him would be average. Not very likely, but average. He wouldn't have a very, very good chance, but I think he'd be an average chance. And I think what's holding him back would be the fact that he is a region-exclusive somewhere outside of Japan, and Nintendo technically hasn't done something like that yet, although I don't think they'd be against doing that. But you know what I'm talking about, you know, stuff like that. Then there's Mona from the WarioWare games. She was in the Wii and DS WarioWare games, basically like WarioWare Smooth Moves and Do-It-Yourself and everything on the DS. She's actually a pretty big Wario character, and probably I would say is the main female rep in the series, I would say. And she would have a unique potential moveset that would counter the craziness that's in Wario's moveset, because Wario's moveset tends to be mostly based off WarioWare than Wario Land. Like, he has Wario Land parts, but it's usually WarioWare most of the time, at least in Brawl. I think she'd have a unique moveset with her motorcycle, just like he has his motorcycle kind of thing. Oh, actually, she has a scooter, not a motorcycle, a scooter. And I think she's kind of like, if there was a WarioWare character that had to be added in to be included with Wario, I think she'd be the one, because I think she's one of the biggest characters, the biggest female character in the series. I say here possibility is good. Not anywhere near really good, but, you know, averagely good.